Let's get started.
All right. Oh, I had a video was playing in the background. I didn't even hear that.
Like,
I was like, why?
hearing it. I was like, what is that?
It's like, is this a remix of the theme? That's so bizarre.
Did I give that to you? What's going on here?
Wow. All right, everybody. Welcome to the bonus stage episode number 20. As always, I'm your host, Lloyd Hannison, and joining me and part zombie this week,
Yeah.
Jeff Ward. Jeff, you've enjoyed the Walking Dead game too much. Now you're trying to become one of the walkers yourself.
It's funny because new episode this Sunday. I've been rereading the comic books, and I'm also reading the Rise of the Governor novel. So I've been in the Walking Dead, and I think it's quite, it shows on me because I am looking like one of the shambling walkers. It's been a tough week, man. Wow. For you more than me.
Yeah.
But I seem to look worse for it. So I'm not quite sure what that says about my, that says about my body's ability to take punishment.
Yeah, I just kind of bounce back, man.
Yeah, okay, but except for like a minor technical issue, you're all good.
Yeah.
I look like a bag of shit.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's been interesting. We haven't done a show for a couple weeks. And 2 weeks ago, I had some work that I had to do at my day job, and it kind of went pear-shaped, and I was there for about 14 hours when I should have only been there for 7. So my day got really long, really fast. So unfortunately, I didn't get home till way after the show would have started. Basically had no time to do anything but try to not get fired. So that was 2 weeks ago.
Try to not get fired. That's pretty serious.
Yeah. Well, no. Okay, it wasn't that serious, but
okay.
Yeah. But it was stuff that had to get done, and
yeah.
I was the only one that could do it. So it just had to happen. So I worked a double day basically. So that sucked. But I was like, that's fine. We'll just do it next week. We'll miss a week. It's happened before. It's not the end of the world. Well, Monday I got the flu from hell. I've had flus before.
As opposed to the flu from heaven, which are the really nice flus that are
just
easy.
Just like the normal like the demon flu, or there's the demi demon flu and some other mid-range demon flus. I had the big bad boy from hell. That's the flu that's going around, and from last Monday till today, I'm sick. I have a nasty cough. You guys could probably hear it in my voice. I'm hoarse. My throat is wrecked. It's been hell. So for pretty much a week, I had a fever. I was basically delirious, and I was telling Jeff before we started recording, from last Monday, so 2 Mondays ago, till I guess Monday of this week, I didn't play video games, and not because I didn't want to. I just couldn't. I tried on the Saturday to play Ni no Kuni, and I got about an hour and a half in, and I'm just like, I'm dizzy. I feel bad. I feel nauseous. I feel anxious. So I just went back up. So I had a whole week where I could have been playing games because I was sick, and I played nothing. So I didn't even play anything on my iPad, which was right beside me. So I was really, 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 really sick. But I'm doing better now. So I'm coughing like crazy. So cue the cough. That was perfect. If you guys hear me coughing, I'm going to try to cough away from the mic. I'm going to try to mute my microphone. Hopefully I won't destroy your eardrums. If I do, I apologize. But I've probably already destroyed your eardrums, so that apology, you won't be able to hear it. So I will type "I apologize" on the website. But we'll try to soldier through and get this done anyway. Jeff's working on about zero hours of sleep for the last like 873 days or something. Yeah. So
2 hours in the last 40 I've slept.
So he's a little bit tired. So between that and my coughing, you're in for one hell of a show.
Yeah, it's gonna be a wild one. And you know what? It's funny that that we're all kind of out of sorts, and we're trying to get back into a rhythm here. And the show we're doing tonight is massive. I mean, we did not, take it easy on you guys tonight. There's a ton of stuff to talk about, ton of new releases, got a couple of big reviews for you, lots of news. It's going to be a monster show. So hopefully you guys are in to listen to us babble on for another 90 minutes.
We actually might, depending on how things go, we might sort of tone it down a little bit and cut some of the content out just because I honestly don't think my voice can hold out for a 2-hour epic show. So
yeah,
we'll try to keep it around an hour just because I need to talk this weekend. I have lots of stuff to do. So, but we'll see what we can do. With that said, Jeff, what do you say we get into this?
Let's do it.
What you been playing?
This week, although I haven't had much time to play video games this week, when you have so few hours, you kind of go back to games like I've been playing, like Call of Duty, where I can pop in for a half hour, play 3 or 4 games worth of multiplayer, and feel like I've accomplished something, or I've played a game and it was fun. So I've been playing a lot of that, and I've been actually going into their new League play. I talked about this in the review, and I only up until recently found myself in that match list. And League play is... So it's essentially Call of Duty's esports variant, where they're trying to make this big push. David Vonderhaar is the creative developer for Treyarch, and he was one of the big minds and brains behind everything in development for Black Ops 2. And he did a big push to make Call of Duty a competitive game, something you'll see in tournaments more often, something that will be played for money and will be played on TV and all that kind of stuff. He really wants to push that esports agenda on the community. And they've done an okay job. It's pretty fun. You get, doesn't matter what level you are in public match, you have all the weapons and all the attachments unlocked. So you can make any kind of class you want from the get-go, which is really cool. And the only downside is people are really concerned about winning, so it's very campy. And because of that, it's also a very slow-paced game. You do earn experience. You earn 2,500 experience if you lose the game and 5,000 if you win, and that's it. And that goes towards your public match. So I've been playing a little bit of that, and you kind of like go up these leaderboards and see, I'm in like the Bronze League. I think I was ranked 3rd there. And then I won a couple of games in a row, and I was bumped up to the Silver League, and then you go to Gold and Platinum and Diamond or whatever the hell it is. It is kind of fun, but it's a little bit slower paced, and it's just a different way to play Call of Duty. I don't know if it'll stick around, because I really don't see Call of Duty being an esports kind of game. Games like that are Halo or any kind of racing game or anything to do with like Madden or NHL. Those are real esports sells because the game is very balanced. Call of Duty doesn't really have the kind of competitive balance needed to be in that league. But it's been a lot of fun, and if you haven't tried it yet, I do recommend trying it out because it is a different way to play the game. The other thing I've been playing, and I've been playing a ton of this week, it's pretty much dominated anytime I'm rendering. I'll turn to the TV right here and play Minecraft. I'm playing it on the 360 with Tom, and him and I have just grinded for this entire week. We've probably played 25, maybe even close to 30 hours in Minecraft this week in this one world. We're building massive structures, and we're finding strongholds. We're going into the nether and, finding nether fortresses, and it's a blast. It's so much fun. It's reinvigorated my love of Minecraft, and pretty much every second where I'm just sitting and, waiting for a render, or I'm like, I should probably take a break, I will text Tom and say, hey, do you want to play Minecraft? And then 3 hours later, we're like, maybe I should get back to work. So It's been a ton of fun. If you guys haven't picked up Minecraft yet, it is a really nice buy on the 360 because it does kind of introduce you to things a little bit more naturally than just kind of throwing the world at you in the PC version. It's such a fantastic game, and I want to like stop the show right now and start playing again, but Tom and I are going to be playing after, so it's a ton of fun. Add me on Xbox Live. Veteran Cipher is my gamer tag. If you guys want to play some Minecraft, I am totally down. So add me on Xbox Live and we'll do that. But that's pretty much all I've been playing, Lloyd, this week. What about yourself? I mean, I think we already know it's been very little, but of that little, what have you been playing?
Well, I've been playing a little bit. As you said, sorry, I have a lozenge in my mouth, so it's hard to talk. And
Lozenge. What a great word.
Yeah, I like that word. I've been playing a little bit. The Simpsons Tapped Out came out with the Valentine's Day update,
Yes.
so I've been playing that as well. I already bought all the stuff and pretty much finished it, and it's not even Valentine's Day yet, so that was fun. Blockheads came out with an update as well.
Yeah, I downloaded it, but I still have yet to actually play it.
Yeah, it's pretty short, but that's good because the Christmas one was pretty insane. You pretty much had to devote your life to getting all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad to see the snow go away, though. It gets a little bit tiresome, just as I was glad to see the zombies go away.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been playing that. What else? I picked up a copy of Ni no Kuni on release day. Or not on a release day, a couple days after release, and that's the PlayStation RPG. It's a JRPG, so very standard Japanese RPG. So you're leveling, you're grinding, you're doing all the fun stuff in RPGs. But it's done by Level 5, and the art direction is done by Studio Ghibli. So they've made a lot of movies, a lot of animes, and this game looks like it is an anime that you're controlling.
It's got a great art style, and I don't even like anime, but it's really nice to look at.
It's absolutely unbelievable. Like your character when he runs through towns, it's just it's like I'm watching like Totoro or Castle in the Sky or a Kiki's Delivery Service. Like the art style is so noticeable, and it comes across in all the characters. The really cool thing is the voice acting is all done. You can listen to it in the English version or the Japanese, or the real like original Japanese version, which is kind of cool. And just been playing that. So it's a Japanese RPG. So as I said, there's a lot of grinding. And a buddy at work was asking what kind of JRPG is it? Because there's a lot of different types of JRPGs, all the way from like the original Final Fantasy to even like I don't know, a Monster Hunter is kind of like a JRPG. So I said, basically you take one of the Tales series. So there's been like a dozen Tales games that have come out over the different console generations. You add in a little bit of Zelda because there's like puzzle solving and adventuring through dungeons and things. Excuse me. You add in Pokemon because you battle with a familiar system. So as you're fighting monsters, you can tame them and they become familiars that you can summon, similar to Pokemon. And those familiars you can then level up. And there's 3 forms of the familiars, so they can level up to a certain point, and then they can morph into the next level, the next version of the creature, similar to Pokemon as you evolve.
Okay.
And it's basically all wrapped up in like this really warm Studio Ghibli blanket. So it just feels like you're in this wonderful world. Like it's a place that I don't want to leave. Like I just want to run through the game and play it and love it and enjoy it. I think I'm about 32 hours in. Before I got sick, I got about 24 hours, and I've been able to play a little bit over the last few days to get it up there. I'm probably about halfway through the game. So it's pretty much probably about a 50 to 60 hour game, depending on how far you go. But
it's a lengthy campaign.
Yeah, and basically the game revolves around you. Your name's Oliver. You're a little kid. You find out that you basically discover in the first little bit that your mom dies, and she dies saving your life. And the little stuffed animal that your mom made for you comes to life, and it turns out that his name is Drippy, and he's actually a Lord Fairy from the monster realm, and he was trapped in the form of a stuffed animal by some evil beast. And that's essentially how the game starts. And you have a quest to bring your mother back to life, or try to bring your mom back to life. So pretty
That's what the
standard.
game's about. See, I don't really know much about the game,
Yeah.
so like that description of the of what you're supposed to do is actually it's a lot darker than it
It's
looks.
dark, kind of, but not really. Like it's super cheery, super bright and cheery. It's a storyline that's been done like a million times in Japanese media, so
Hmm.
it's pretty common to the genre, I guess. But yeah, then the game just takes you across a wonderful world, going from city to city, meeting people, solving quests, helping people. One big mechanic in the game is people have broken hearts, where the big bad guy in the game has taken a part of someone's heart, so taken some of their courage, taken some of their determination. You have to figure out what part of the heart this person's missing. You have to find someone that has an excess of that part, basically leech it from that person and then give it to the other person to mend it. And that plays a big part in the game. There's a whole series of quests that you do, so you help people. There can be fetch quests. They can be, I need this kind of item. I need 4 of these and 5 of these. Could be kill these kinds of monsters. And those sometimes play into the main quest. Other times they're just kind of off to the side as kind of a side quest. There's kill quests, so you can actually go hunt big named bosses kind of thing. And all that stuff is just in addition to the main storyline, where you're basically trying to become a powerful wizard so that you can take on the big bad guy that has pretty much ruined the world, or is in the process of ruining the world by attacking people and stuff like that. So it is such a wonderful game. If you have any interest in RPGs at all, if you've ever enjoyed an RPG, and you have a PlayStation 3, you deserve to own a copy of Ni no Kuni. It is such a wonderful, wonderful game. I don't know what else I can say bad about it. There really is nothing bad about it that I can say. The game is a little bit grindy, but I mean, it's a JRPG. That's what
Kind of to be
JRPGs are.
expected.
And the cool thing is, there's different difficulties. So if you are new to RPGs, you can set it to you can set it to easy, and there's nothing bad will happen to you if you do it. There's no trophies that you'll miss by doing that, and all of the creatures will be easier. It'll be easier to get XP and stuff like that. So that's all I'm playing through right now on easy, because I don't want to play the same boss 20 times in a row to figure out the combination of spells to beat the guy. I know some people that are playing on hard, and that's good. They have more time than I do. The game itself is just beautiful. So if you have a PS3 and you like RPGs, you have to go buy this one right now. You will not regret it. You'll not hate me for it. It is such a wonderful, wonderful game.
It's weird because I pretty much had no knowledge of this game until about a week before release, and like eight or nine people on my friends list on Facebook were just like, "I can't wait to pick this up," and I'm like, "What game is this? Like, I should have some knowledge of it." And I was
Yeah.
looking at it, and I'm going, "Really? This is what you want to play? Like, it's really." I mean, I've never been that big of an RPG fan. I like certain RPGs, but they have to they've really got to kind of strike a chord with me, where it's about item management and kind of really playing a role instead of just being given a character and you
Yeah.
have to do like crafting and all that grinding kind of stuff. But I was surprised how many people were like just going insane for this game.
Yeah, like GameStop's in town, they get a shipment and they'll get like 2-3 copies, and they walk out the door.
That's crazy.
People keep calling. Like when I got my copy, I basically told the guy, or I called. I was on my lunch hour and I was just close to one of the GameStops in town, and I'm like, "Do you have any Ni no Kuni?" He's like, "Yeah, well, 2 copies just walked in the door like 10 minutes ago. One's already gone." And I'm like, "Okay, I will be there right away." So I flew there in like 5 minutes, and I walk in and I'm like, "Do you have it?" He's like, "Oh yeah, here it is." And basically just I was paying and walking out the door. Someone else came in and said, "Hey, do you have that copy of Ni no Kuni?" And they're like, "Oh no, that guy just got it." And I got some dirty looks, and it's just like, yeah, sorry, dude. It's really popular.
That's
like
crazy.
The art book, you can't find it anywhere. I tried ordering it from like Chapters and other online bookstores, and you can't find it. It's back ordered. This game is something. Like I think you should give it a chance, Jeff, because the story itself is just the story is awesome. Like whether you're into like grindy kind of RPGs or not, the story is enough to kind of kind of make you want to continue and get to the next area and the next area and the next area.
If I do play it, it'll be something I'll play very late in the year, at the earliest, because there's just so much other games I want to play.
Yep.
And it is going to take a little bit of a leap of faith for me. I certainly wouldn't buy it at the full retail price point. If it came down by half or something, I'd be like, maybe I'll check it out.
Yeah, good luck. I don't think it's ever going to drop in price. I think it's going to be one of those games that's going to be pre-saled or pre-played version, sorry.
Yeah, and it'll come down by $10.
Yeah, like they're going to be almost retail.
Yeah, the tax-free version, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been playing that, and today I picked up Fire Emblem for the 3DS. So Fire Emblem Awakening just came out.
Did you download it, or did you actually buy
I downloaded it.
Oh, it's like 2 gigabytes to download, isn't it?
It's like a gig.
Oh man, that's heavy. But it's Fire Emblem.
And it took nothing to download, actually. So I haven't actually played it yet. I played through like the opening kind of tutorial level and stuff like that. And excuse me. And it looks beautiful. Excuse me.
He's dying there, everybody.
Yeah, I'm gonna try my best to get this episode done, guys. I do apologize.
For you. You don't even know. Oh, that one was chunky.
The game is basically like the art style. When you're playing the game, there's like sort of anime cutscenes. It's a blend of like 2D sprites when you're playing the game and kind of 3D models that you're going through the game as well. So it looks really good. I can't wait to get into it, but I definitely am going to be playing and beating the main storyline of Ni no Kuni before I get too far into Fire Emblem. I'm going to go far enough into Fire Emblem to get to the area where you can download maps to get the free map pack, because it's only free for another couple of weeks. Okay. And I'll do that, and then I'll put it on the shelf until I finish off Ni no Kuni. But yeah, that's about it, man.
Well then, yeah, Fire Emblem is going to take a serious investment of time. I think it's something like it's about 60 hours for the campaign as well. So it's a massive, massive game.
Yeah, the nice thing I like about this is they've put in a casual mode. So Fire Emblem's always been you recruit this really awesome person, they come fight for you, and then they die in a battle and they're gone forever. And you're sad and you cry. And I've played Fire Emblem in the past, and that's happened to me, and that's kind of turned me off of the series. Like I have this like core group of people, and then I do something really stupid and they all die, and it's just like, all right, well, I don't even want to play this game anymore. All the people I've leveled up and made my own are kind of dead. So this one has a casual mode, so I'm going to play through it on casual mode. I think I've gotten to the point where I'm old, so I don't have time anymore. So I have to play like easy, and I have to play casual modes to actually get through these games. I've just decided to stop having gamer pride and just play games to enjoy them, and we'll see how that works out.
The thing is, like Tom. I was talking to Tom. We were playing Minecraft, and he's a big Fire Emblem fan. In fact, maybe even he, because you're both going to be playing it, it would actually be cool to see if your opinions differ of the game, because he comes at it of a completely different standpoint. He's actually almost mad that the developers put a casual mode in the game, because he thinks that the core of Fire Emblem is kind of the same in the way the new XCOM was done, right? Mm-hmm. Where if you lose a character, they're gone. It's too bad. You screwed up. That's your fault. If you want them back, start again,
Yeah. I don't know.
But I was like,
that's kind of a wah-wah kind of.
Yeah, I told him, I was like, man, listen, it's a choice.
But I never got my characters to come back when they died. No one else should be able to do that. Yeah, it's too bad.
That's what I thought too. But I was like, listen, man, it's a choice. They're not like forcing you to play casual mode.
Yeah, play the normal way if you want. Just like Ni no Kuni, play on hard if you want, play on the normal difficulty. You don't have to put it to easy if you don't want to. I was always the guy that played through on the default difficulty, just because that is what I assumed the developers intended people to play through the game as. I don't have any problem now switching it to easy and actually getting through the game and completing it, because I have a wall of games and I'd say probably 20% of them have been completed, because I would just get to a point where it's like, I can't spend any more time on this. There's 5 other games I need to play, and it would go on the shelf and it would never go back in my system. So
I always take a look at the achievements. If it's an Xbox game, I always look at the achievements and go, okay, how much more am I going to get for playing it on a harder difficulty? And I usually end up playing it on the hardest first and then going back and enjoying it more when it's easy, because I'm less pissed off that I'm dying all the time.
Yep.
But I've always been someone who likes the challenge, but at the same time,
I love the
just
challenge.
rip my hair out too as
don't,
well. So.
Don't get me wrong here. Like I don't like winning a game just by putting it in and hitting the I win button, but I have a real life with a job and a family and other things. I'm not the old like 16-year-old or 18-year-old version of myself that had like nothing to do but play games. Back then I would play like a game on my N64 or PlayStation, and I would play hundreds and hundreds of hours. Like the first time I played through Final Fantasy 7, I got every single thing you could possibly get in Final Fantasy 7. I bred the golden chocobo and the black chocobo, and I got Knights of the Round, and I got everything, every spell, every item, and I probably played 200 hours of that game, and I loved it. Now, there's no way in hell I could ever do that. It was just there's absolutely not enough time in my day, unless that's the only game I choose to play for an entire year.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I played Skyrim on hard. For maybe the first 10 or 15 levels. I was about halfway through the campaign, and I was like, this is fun, but man, I'm dying so much.
Yeah, you happen upon a dragon, and one hit and you're dead.
Oh yeah, and it'll just like drop down on top of me, and I'm like, okay, well that was great. I haven't saved in the last half hour, so that's really fantastic. And then Carly would be playing it on her PC, and she's playing it on an easier difficulty because she just wants to play the game and have fun. And I'm sitting there being mad at it, and I'm looking over at her screen, and she's like, "Oh, this is really cool." And I'm like, "Man, I haven't even gotten halfway there yet. Like, God damn it!"
As Steven in the chat room
I put it
said,
down to normal, I think.
As Steven in the chat room said, then you took an arrow to the knee.
Yeah, exactly.
I was the same way. I played on hard actually. And I got to the point where it was just like a dragon would come, not even an elder dragon or an ancient dragon. It was just a normal, like, I'm a weakling, you look at me, I die dragon. And he would just like kick my ass. And it's just like, all right, drop it down to easy. It's like, oh, 3 arrows and the dragon's dead. That's a lot more fun to me. And then I can go continue on with my story and hunting and all that other stuff I want to do.
Yeah, I did have it down too easy at some point, and I was killing dragons in like 2 or 3 hits, because at that time my level for two-handed was up near like 98. So I was dealing like 150 damage per strike. So I was killing dragons in 3 hits, and I'm like, well, there's no real challenge there, so I bumped it up. I kind of wish, instead of just having these like easy, normal, hard, very hard, go cry in a corner difficulties, that there was more of a slider to it, like a dimmer switch basically for difficulty, where you could kind of dial in, different settings essentially, instead of just having, here's 4 presets, the enemies take more damage here before they die, or they just move around faster, but anyway, I think we're getting way off topic here. Let's jump into new releases.
Never get off topic, Jeff.
I don't think
Come
we've
on.
ever been on a tangent before.
All right.
So let's jump into new releases.
Yeah,
there's a ton of games here.
I'll let you take most of this, because I'm going to take a break on my voice.
No problem.
So have fun.
So Dead Space 3 came out this week. I've played the demo. Tons of fun. It's very action-oriented. In fact, there was a really great article on Kotaku. Was it Kotaku? I can't remember. It was on one of the gaming websites. And they were talking about how the writer had said that, the action-oriented gameplay of Dead Space 3 was pretty much a necessity because of the fact of how they wrote the first 2 games. The fear has been taken out quite a bit because we're so familiar with the necromorphs at this point, that them just jumping out of the walls and scaring you is really the only way they can make the game scary. So it was a challenge to write, but the game still looks like a ton of fun. I would love to pick it up, but I've got other things to play and other things to do. But that game dropped this week, multi-platform, pretty much everything except for Wii U. I'm not quite sure if they're going to do a release for that. Um, Next up on the list, Sly Cooper Thieves in Time, PS3 and Vita release. This game actually looks pretty cool. I've heard a little bit about it, but I don't know if Sly Cooper has a place in this world anymore because of, there's been a lot of games. He's a pretty old hat character, but we'll see how well this one does. As we mentioned just earlier, Fire Emblem Awakening on the 3DS. Get that digital or, direct from the store. I believe it was this week. I can't remember for sure, but I'm pretty sure it was Tuesday. Skyrim Dragonborn DLC finally came out on the PC, which is fantastic. Carly is upstairs playing it right now, and she's having a blast of a time. And then not this week, but the week before was the big release for Black Ops 2 Revolution DLC. So 4 new maps. You got Hydro, which is basically a big hydroelectric dam. You got Downhill, which is, as it sounds, a ski resort. Grind is probably one of the cooler maps in the history of the Call of Duty franchise, where it's like a big skate park with ramps and half pipes and grind rails and stuff. It's really, really cool. And then Mirage, which is kind of a hotel inside of a desert, I would say. And there's, sand dunes and, it's basically you're in a big sandstorm. So it's really hard to see. So 4 new maps for multiplayer. A new zombies game mode, which is called Turned, where you get to, if you get killed by a zombie, you turn into one and you have to go and kill the other players, which is really cool. But the thing I've heard about it, and I haven't actually played these yet, it's 1,200 points for the map pack, which is $15, I believe, on Xbox Live. So it's a pretty good penny to kind of buy into a map pack with a game that I haven't really had that much time with to begin with, so I've kind of backed off getting it right away. But yeah, you go and you attack the people that are still alive as the humans, and then they turn into zombies, and so on and so forth until everyone's dead. And then there is the new zombies map, which is Die Rise, which is like a skyscraper. It looks really, really cool. It has a ton of verticality to it, which is something new for the zombies franchise. So if you guys are looking to play some new zombies maps, this one, I've seen a ton of gameplay, and it looks awesome. Something that's really, really cool. And then the last thing in this pack, so it's actually a very substantial pack for $15. It's a new weapon, and it's the Peacekeeper SMG. Now, this is the first time in history of DLC for Call of Duty that they've actually released a weapon. If you don't download the DLC and somebody in your lobby is playing with the Peacekeeper and they die, you can pick it up off the ground. So I have actually had some time with it. It feels a lot like the MTAR, just does a little bit more consistent damage at longer ranges. It's pretty cool. It's nice to see a new weapon to kind of kick things up. Everybody's using it just because it's new. So if you do have one, you don't have to use the scavenger perk because you'll be picking up ammo left, right, and center from dead bodies all over the place. So that's the Revolution DLC. You can get it for $15, 1,200 points. It's only on Xbox Live right now. I believe it comes out on the PS3 in, 6 weeks from release? So you guys are going to have to wait a little bit longer, but I think Microsoft renewed that contract with Activision, so they get the exclusive rights to the DLC before anyone else, which is unfortunate for all you PS3 Call of Duty fans. But you will get it eventually, and I think the Wii, they have yet to be determined when that date for the DLC is going to launch. You can also still buy the Season Pass as well, which will allow you to get all of the DLC. And you'll get like a $10 discount. So it's 4,000 Microsoft points. But if you do the math, there's actually no way to buy the Microsoft points where you actually get that $10 rebate. You end up buying more points than you need. So you spend actually pretty much the exact same amount of money to buy the season pass in points than you would to just buy all of the passes or all of the DLC packs individually. So kind of a screw job there, but Microsoft's points system in the way that they let you buy them has always been a pain in the ass, so that kind of sucks. But that's pretty much it for new releases this week. Lots of big titles coming out. There was a few other ones that I kind of just neglected to mention just because they're not big games. You're not going to care about them if I miss them. You guys want to know about the big stuff. So that is it for new releases this week.
Cool. Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time. Actually, one of the games I want to pick up. It has cross-buy, so if you buy it on your PS3, you get the Vita version for free, or you can buy just the Vita version for $10 less. I don't know why you do that unless you don't own a PS3, but even then, you could find a PS3 copy to give a friend or something. Give it a friend, sell them.
I wonder if any Vita owners PS3 as well.
Excuse me. What's that?
I wonder how many Vita owners are out there that don't own a PS3 as well. I got to assume that number is very low.
Yeah, I would think so. But yeah, I was looking, and it has a 75 on Metacritic right now, so it's getting pretty decent reviews. Some friends on Twitter were talking about it today, and one of them really liked it. One of them didn't like it at all. So I don't know. I think it's going to be polarizing. I might need to wait a little bit before picking this one up.
I think it's going to be one of those games that your enjoyment of it really depends on how fondly you look back on the series. If you don't care that much about Sly Cooper, this game probably won't have the same effect on you as if you were a massive fan of him in the PS2 days.
Right. No, I definitely think that's part of the thing.
Cooper game.
Yeah.
It's been a few years at least.
Oh yeah, it definitely has been a few years.
5 maybe, I want to say, but I don't know for sure.
Cool. All right. Well, that's it for new releases. Thanks, Jeff, for manning that one. Taking point, as you cod bloppers say.
Give me the rock, man.
All right. Let's take a small little music break, then we'll get into our reviews. We'll be back in a couple minutes. right, we got another winner there, Jeff.
That was a good one, yeah. I like it.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. That was a song called Spank by Sing Kong Beldo from the Chip Win expansion pack. Yeah. You got to love the names.
Yeah,
on these things.
Go put that into Google right now, everybody.
Yeah, there you go. Sing Kong Baldo, Ballado. I don't know. It's bizarre. Anyway, let's get into reviews.
It's a good song. That's all you need to know.
Exactly. Do search for "good song" bleep bleep bloop, and you'll be you'll get it.
I believe it's the top hit. That's how we found it.
It's the number one hit.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right, man. Let's get into reviews. Why don't you kick it off?
Yeah, so I've been wanting to review this game for a long time. Far Cry 3, I have it on the Xbox 360, but it is cross-platform, is a game that I've been looking forward to playing for a very long time. And in hindsight, I probably should have asked for it for Christmas instead of Hitman, but I wanted them both, and I was like, you know what, whichever one I don't get, I will just buy later. But I didn't realize that Far Cry was going to be such a popular game. And it was hard to find. In fact, I went out on Boxing Day and they were like, we can't keep any in store. And it's still to this day very hard to kind of walk in and get a new copy. There are a lot of used copies out there now, but they are still a hot seller. I don't think I'll ever get rid of this game just because of the open worldness to it. But if you haven't seen the trailer, if you don't know what the game is about, or if you don't know what Far Cry is about, you don't really need to know anything about Far Cry. What this game does great is kind of like the other numbered iterations, it doesn't really matter if you've played the previous game. In fact, there aren't really any kind of crossover things that happen between the arc of 1, 2, and 3. Um, which is good because this game then kind of opens itself up to be enjoyed by anybody who wants to play this type of game. So you play the role of Jason Brody. He, with his friends, are out. His very rich friends, by the way, are out partying in who knows where. It's never really said, but tropics basically, and they're going to the club and they're doing all these crazy drugs and getting just crazy wasted and having experiences. And one night they're like, man, we should go on this DJ's advice. They're like, we should go and do some skydiving. And we're like, we'll go right tomorrow. We're like, we'll do it. So they go and they skydive. They unfortunately land on the wrong side of a bad island and they get kidnapped and are forced into essentially human trafficking. Everybody is split up, and Jason. The game starts out with Jason and his brother, basically tied in this cage, and that's when you get introduced to this villain named Voss, who is one of the greatest video game villains I've ever had the privilege of wanting to kill in my entire life. I mean, this guy is so good at making you hate him, at making you also love him at the same time. He's just crazy as hell. The voice actor is one of the strongest voice actors in video game history, in my opinion. When you hear this guy deliver his lines, there's no screwing around. He is dead serious, and he's a very intimidating character. So you get introduced to him. Your brother, who is in the military, helps you break out of the cell. And after a few things, right at the beginning of the game, he gets killed. You run through the jungle. You end up falling off a cliff. You're pretty much left for dead. And, some guy nurses you back to health, and then the game opens up. He introduces you to these people called the Rakyat, which are the island warriors. And you go, and the island is yours, basically. So you're taking over strongholds so that the Rakyat can then absorb them and push their forces deeper into the jungle. You're driving across these lush, tropical environments. And this game is gorgeous, by the way. We don't often talk about graphics as a selling point because I think both Lloyd and I are on the same side of this argument where give me great gameplay and then you know what, do whatever you want with the art style as long as the gameplay and the story are good, we're there. And this game has that, but then also delivers fantastic visuals, some of the best I've ever seen, and certainly some of the best on the Xbox 360. It looks fantastic on the PC. So if you have the PC, that's probably the best iteration to get because then you can also do the modding and stuff like that as well later on. So you're doing all these crazy missions, you're killing guys, you're upping your arsenal. You have to climb to the top of these really rickety radio towers that, when you're up in them, are swaying back and forth, and their pieces are hanging off, and you have to climb up to the top and pull out these cords and basically shut the radio tower down so the Rakyat can transmit their message to other factions. It opens up more of the map, and things just kind of go on from there. I don't want to spoil too much of it for you because, first of all, it's kind of hard to explain the one of the things in Far Cry that's always been a main factor is this idea of insanity and this idea of like kind of being a feral, you just get pushed to your limit and you just go insane and you start whooping ass all over the place. This is explored heavily in this game. So without spoiling anything, just know that you're in for a ride that I don't think you've ever played before. There's some very interesting concepts going on here about what happens to you after you kill somebody, and how you cope with it and what it means in long-term life. And then there are also some really cool spiritual things with the Rakyat and what they believe, and why they want you to help them. And then there's some really just like, this is hardcore, pulled straight from, the headlines, kind of like human trafficking. We want to make money. People are a commodity, and I want to sell people like some bad, bad seeds. And it's a very interesting game. The gameplay, first person shooter, very tight. Driving controls are really good. Once you get used to them at the beginning, you're going to be driving off of cliffs and dying a lot. But once you get used to the driving controls, it's very fun to drive around. Tons of area to explore. There's two islands. There's a smaller one that you go to at the latter half of the game, but they're massive, massive places. You can hunt for animals and skin them, and then you sell their skins for money, or you can use their skins in this great crafting system to craft new wallets, to craft weapon holsters so you can carry more guns, craft grenade pouches so you can carry more grenades, and so on and so forth. There's also all these plants all over the place, so you can go out and you can chop plants down and you can craft those into ingredients that you use in a syringe, so you can heal yourself, or you can give yourself hunter's vision, so animals, you can see their scent if they've been close by if you're hunting, and things like that. You can hold your breath longer in the water. It's a really, really deep game, and there's tons of other side missions as well too. Like, when you open up a new compound after you've taken it over for the Rakyat, there's a bulletin board which has, either a hunting mission or a mission where you have to go and kill some guy. And when you go and kill the guy, you have to do it with your knife to prove that you're a Rakyat, warrior. So it's really close and really personal. And usually you come up behind a guy and like grab his chin, pull his neck aside, and just shove a knife right into his neck. It's vicious. It's very, very brutal, but it's a ton of fun. Playing with the bow and arrow, probably one of the tightest bow and arrow weapons I've ever used since maybe Turok. If you are someone who likes to kind of creep around the jungle, be silent, and then just like kill guys with a bow and arrow, man, this game is for you. It's a ton of fun, and there's so many different ways to go about attacking enemies. You have a camera, which I believe is like a Canon 7D or something, and you use it as like binoculars. And when you are up on the top of a hill and you can see a compound down there with a bunch of enemies, you pull up your camera, you zoom in, and you can tag all these enemies so you can keep track of their location so that when you finally get down to where they are, you can see them, even if they're obscured by like a wall or some trees or whatever. And there's sometimes, if the compound is a compound for poachers, they'll have like a tiger in a cage. And if you just want to like, do it differently, instead of going in guns blazing, you just take your sniper rifle, take a shot at the cage, the door opens up, and then the tiger kills everyone for you, and you just walk in and take it over. So tons of ways to play, and it's a ton of fun. I would love to talk more about the story, but like I said, it's really tough for me to do so without spoiling it for you guys, and I think that I would be doing a disservice to you if I did, because it is a very interesting story, and it has a couple of different endings as well too, both of which are very satisfying if you understand them. So and once you're done the game as well too, you don't go back to the beginning. You can go back to the island and still do all the other side missions. There's tons of stuff, and they actually just released a DLC pack. Actually, they have been releasing DLC packs, but they put it together in like a compendium. It's 800 points. You get a bunch of extra missions, some extra characters, tons of cool stuff. I really, really love this game. If I had played it before our New Year's show, this game would have been in my top 3 favorite games of the year. As it stands now, it's like my favorite game for 2012 that I played in 2013, if that makes sense. Totally worth your money. You have to pick it up. It is a fantastic game. Far Cry 3. I played it on the Xbox 360. It's available for the PS3, the PC, the 360. You got to get it. Lloyd, you got to get it because I think you'll really, really enjoy it.
Yeah, that's a game I want to pick up. I love stealthy, like shooting people with bows and arrows. I mean, I always play the rogue when I play like an Oblivion kind of game, and just seeing some of the footage of that's the kind of game I want.
You can also like craft different arrows. So if you want an arrow that when it hits somebody, it starts on fire and they get lit up, you can do that. Like basically put a grenade on the end of your arrow, so when you
Nice.
shoot the arrow, it just blows up and kills a bunch of people. It's really, really
That's a good
cool.
thing. Nothing like blowing people up with grenade arrows.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Awesome.
It is awesome.
Cool. Well, let's talk a little bit about a game I want to talk about, Dishonored. This is going to be that long of a review, mainly because I can't talk for that long. So I played Dishonored over the holidays. This is one of the like large number of games that I beat over the holidays before I went back to work, and people. Excuse me, were telling me to play Dishonored, and they were saying that it had a story to kind of rival BioShock, and I was a little bit, and I didn't really believe them. I just I don't know, I was skeptical, and so I picked it up and played it, and Dishonored is basically the story of a guy named Corvo Attano, I believe. I think that's his name, and he's the royal guard for an empress in this game, for this city, this like crazy city with like big machines and everything, but it's like really it's probably set in like the 1700s if it was set in like our time or our world, but it isn't. And I think the city's called Dunwall. But the thing about Dunwall is it's infested by a plague. And this plague is transmitted by rats. But the plague isn't just like a normal plague where you get sick and die. You find out later that this plague is basically people get bit and then they turn into these like monsters that cough like bugs at you and stuff like that. So it's a pretty nasty plague. And it got so bad that a good portion of the city is actually just shut down. So anyway, you're Corvo. You leave the Empress to go do some stuff, and when you come back, you meet her, and it's all happy, and you play hide and seek with her daughter. And that was the one thing about the game that was kind of cool is you have this like really great relationship with. Excuse me, the daughter of the Empress. So the I guess the princess, the heir to the throne. And one of the first things you do in the game is you play some hide and seek with her, and she hides, and you find her, and it's that's kind of the way that they do the tutorial in the game to kind of teach you how to do different things, hide behind things, peek out, do that type of stuff. And anyway, basically what happens is the Empress gets killed, and you're framed for the murder, so you're dishonored, and you get thrown in jail. And that's pretty much the way the game starts. So it's not spoilers, because that's like the first like half hour of the game, and if you know anything about the game, you know that's basically what happens. While you're in jail,
Like showed to you in the trailers anyway.
yeah, exactly. It's something that people have probably found out.
You there?
Yeah. Can you hear me at all? Sorry, I might have turned down my send a little bit too far, because you were cutting off when you were trying to talk with me.
Gotcha. I was just going to say that what you said is also shown in the marketing and the trailers anyway, just kind of give you a brief synopsis of what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, exactly. So when you're in jail, you basically are visited, and you find out that that you have magical powers, or you're granted magical powers, and you're granted the power to blink, which is essentially basically teleport across a short distance. And that's pretty much how the game starts. So Dishonored basically has you trying to save the princess, who's locked away in a castle somewhere, and she's not in another castle, she's in that one. You know exactly where she is. And you basically get there by learning different skills, and doing different things. So the game is set up in such a way where you are tasked with killing somebody, because you are an assassin essentially when you don this mask. But you don't have to kill this person. You can get rid of them in a non-violent way. Excuse me. And the game actually rewards you for not killing. Basically, the game has a chaos meter, and the more people you kill, the higher the chaos meter goes. When you have the chaos meter too high for too long, different things start happening. There's more guards in the game. There's more roving like packs of plague rats in the game which will attack you. People don't like you. They maybe don't help you. So it actually would behoove you to not kill people and to take care of people in a way that isn't violent. So for example, you might have to kill a guy, and instead of killing him, you might want to just knock him out and then carry his unconscious body outside of the house and throw him in a dumpster. So people think he's dead. People think that he's been disappeared, but he really wakes up in a dumpster and then realizes that someone tried to kill him, so he runs off. Or excuse me, you can go crazy and you can kill all the guards, all the civilians, everybody, all the animals, and then kill this guy and set the chaos meter to high. So I played through the game initially with my chaos meter. I wanted to keep it very low, so I tried not to kill anybody. Excuse me. And there's actually achievements for killing nobody and not being seen by anybody. There's an achievement for that as well. So if you want to get crazy, you can try to play the game without anybody ever knowing that you're there, which is incredibly difficult, and not something that I will ever attempt because I don't have that much time. But I played through half the game with trying to kill very few people. I'd kill the odd guard that discovered me, but I'd take their body and throw it in a dumpster or throw it away so no one else would see it to try to keep the chaos level down. But halfway through the game, I had to replay missions over and over, and I was just like, you know what, screw this. And then I just started killing everybody, and it was fun because there's some really cool powers that you can learn. You can basically summon plague rats, and they will attack people, and if they kill people, then they devour the body and there's no body there. You can learn an ability to basically, if you stealth kill somebody, they turn to dust. So you can basically sneak up behind somebody or blink behind them, stealth kill them, they turn to dust, no one will see the body, etc., etc. You can learn a skill where you can actually take control of the rats, which is pretty cool because then you can use the rat to sneak into a place unseen. Because they can go in little holes that you can't go as a big person. And then you can actually just hit a button and then you basically instantly teleport to where that rat was, killing the rat in the process, but you're there, which is pretty cool. One other thing that you can do is if you level up that power the second time, you can actually take control of people. And that's where it gets really fun when you're trying to make a lot of craziness happen, because you can push people off buildings, you can attack people, you can do stupid things, you can walk through security systems and make that guy die. So there's a lot of really like bizarre things that you can do to make the game just kind of go like crazy with all the AI just kind of going like crazy because of all the stuff that you're doing. Excuse me. And that's pretty much Dishonored. So you're playing through the game, playing the story, trying to either kill everybody or kill nobody. And when you get to the last battle, this is where your actions will be basically shown to you. So I talked with a buddy online, and he played through the game pretty much not killing everybody. So I asked him, like, the last assault on the castle, like what was it like? How it was really crazy for me. How about you? And he's like, yeah, there was like 5-6 guards, and I snuck in and blinked over the castle walls and went through this thing, killed the 2 guys, and it was great. And I'm like, 5-6 guys? He's like, yeah, it was like no one. And I'm like, okay, well, I had high chaos. There was probably about 300 guards in the town. They are all on high alert. They all came running at me. People, there was turrets. There was all these like high-end weapons. Like there's these guys on stilts. There's a bunch of those guys around. So by playing the game the way that I did, I made the last battle a hell of a lot more difficult than it should have been, which is kind of cool. One other thing that your darkness does is the more people you kill, the darker everybody that is helping you is, including the little girl that you rescue. There's this one scene where she draws you a picture, and if you aren't crazy and not killing everybody, the picture apparently is supposed to be really nice and beautiful, and look at her, look what she did to me. She drew something that kind of made me sit there and go, oh fuck, I just destroyed a human's life. I have a daughter, so maybe it affected me a little bit more, but I just sat there and I was just like, oh crap, I've ruined her personality with all the death that I did. So
isn't it always really strange when, like, you know, we're playing it's a video game, it's just a video game, right? But
yep.
all of a sudden you just kind of like put down the control and take a step back and you're like, what the hell did I just do? Like, you're almost like disgusted with yourself in a way. It's very strange.
I felt really ashamed with what I did to this poor little girl who was so nice and cheery at the start of the game. I was just like, yeah, she's gonna need to talk to a therapist. Essentially, is what happened. So that's Dishonored. It's a great game. It's kind of a first-person stealth action game, or a first-person shooter, depending on how you want to play the game, or a first-person stabby kind of game. You can play it so many different ways. Really cool magic system. You learn spells by uncovering runes, which are hidden throughout the level. You can find these little bone charms, which give you different bonuses as well. So the game can be played so many different ways. There's so many different ways to play each mission. It's kind of like Hitman in that way, I guess, where you could do things so many different ways, but you don't have to set up 20 minutes of watching a guy walk through a house to then knock him out at the right time and throw him in a laundry basket. You can do things a little bit more, I guess, my speed and my style. So I liked it a little bit better than what I liked Hitman. So Dishonored, really great game. I played it on the PlayStation 3. It's available on the 360 as well. If you're looking for a game that has a really awesome story, some really great mechanics, and some stealth action fun, might be a game right up your alley.
So then, in your opinion, like it has got the same mechanics as a Hitman, but it doesn't present itself in as slow a way? Not
really. It's more like a cross between like an Oblivion and a first-person shooter in what you can do. So you have skills that you trigger with different button combinations. It's a lot more fast-paced than a Hitman. So you can blink across. Like basically, what I would do is I would blink behind a guy, stealth kill him, blink behind another guy, stealth kill him, summon some rats, let the rats consume the body, continue on with what I was doing. So it was like it was pretty fluid and fast as you go through the game. Where Hitman is very like slow and controlled and plotting. It's definitely a faster paced game, or a slower paced game. If you're playing through the game trying to get the achievement where no one sees you, you're going to be waiting a lot and watching the way people walk and blinking into the shadows and hiding and taking different skills than I would have taken, because you want skills that will more allow you to travel faster unseen and hide in the shadows and things like that. So but yeah, I love Dishonored. It was a really, really fun game. I'm really glad I played it. And excuse me, if you're looking for a game that has a really good story and some really great mechanics, it might be one that you'll want to check out as well.
Cool. I have wanted to play it. He keeps telling me, he's like, Jeff, you got to play this game. It's really good. It's right up your alley. And him and I were big fans of the Thief series.
Yeah, it's very much like a Thief game.
And he was like, if you like that, you could really get into this easily because of how short of a jump that is to connect the two, you know?
Yeah, it's like you took a Thief game from its heyday, brought it into this age, and put a really good kind of first-person shooter engine on it. So you have kind of the dual stick control, like really, really fluid control, and then put a lot of like really great magical powers that kind of make the game fun to play. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed it.
Cool.
All right, man, let's take another small break so I can try to regain control of my voice, and then we'll get into the news.
Awesome.
We'll catch you guys in a couple minutes. right. So that was another great one. 2 for 2 tonight, man.
Hey, it's good that we, man, every once in a while, or sorry, not every once in a while, every time you're just gonna hit the random button, I get a little bit nervous because I remember that one time where it was just an absolute dud.
Horror.
We couldn't get out of that song fast enough. That was the shortest break in the show's history. I believe it lasted less than 20 seconds.
10 seconds or something. Yeah, that was a song called Tragic Prince by Jon Turpin from the Rhythm and Bits album. Jon Turpin writes a lot of music for video games that I've seen, a lot of independent stuff, so I recognize the name, and that was a really good track.
Indeed.
All right, let's get into the news. I'm going to kick it off, and then I'm going to let you get into some of the other ones because I'm about to die here. My voice is about to die. Right now, if you go to PlayStation Network, if you have a PlayStation 3, that is, or a Vita, Square Enix has put pretty much almost their entire, I think it pretty much is their entire catalog on sale for half off. So you can get things like Dissidia, Final Fantasy Tactics, Final Fantasy 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, not 10. 4 to 9 for really cheap. I already owned 7, which was one of my favorite games that I like to replay every once in a while. But I picked up copies of Final Fantasy 8 and Final Fantasy 9 as well, and they were $5 a pop.
Wow.
Super cheap. You can play them on the Vita and on your PlayStation 3. If you're looking to replay any old Final Fantasy games, I definitely recommend taking advantage of this sale while it's on. It's only going to go on for about the next week or so, so definitely jump in and get it as soon as you can. I think the sale ends on the 18th of February, I believe. So do check that out because it's a good deal. I played Theater Rhythm Final Fantasy, and that made me want to go replay all the old Final Fantasy games. So I picked up 8 and 9 because I hadn't played those for such a long time, and I don't actually own copies of them anymore. They went somewhere. I don't even know where they went. So I still have my 7 discs, but I can't find my 8 or 9. So only way I can play it is through the PS1 classics on the PlayStation 3. So I'll be
unless you want to shell out $85 to get the discs.
Yeah, not really too excited about doing that, man.
No,
so $5 seems like a really good deal.
It is a really good deal. It's surprising that they're so cheap when the discs themselves are so high.
Yeah.
I mean, with especially with Square Enix's tendencies to rip you off, essentially
overcharge by
they're like
stupid
that
amounts.
$5 like for one of our basically our flagship series in the the 3 games that sold more than any other ones. It's like holy crap.
Yeah, no, it's such a good deal. And Stephen Munn's in the chat room, and he's Mr. Collector. He has like full box copies of like every Castlevania game ever. And he's starting on other franchises as well. He would buy the box copy. I'm not so much of a collector. I'm a collector, but I'm not that much of a collector. So I'm fine, and I will grab them on a PSN for $5. And yes, Steven, they are on PSN for $5, and cheaper depending on what game you're looking for. Do check it out. All right, so that's about it for that. Why don't you take over with the next story, Jeff?
Yeah, speaking of collections, Stephen will like this one. I wonder if maybe if in the chat room if he can say, do you have about $500,000 to kind of blow? Because if you do, you can have what is being considered one of the most complete collections ever offered. So this guy, we talk about these stories every once in a while, but there's this eBay seller. His name is videogames.museum, and he is offering a 30-year collection of video games and consoles and just paraphernalia for $550,000. I won't go through the more than 7,000 items he's selling, but there's a ton. Game consoles, controllers, accessories, promotional, and various items. Games count is something around 6,800 different games. Consoles are like, what the hell were they saying here? Like 300 consoles, 307 system box, 24 loose. Controllers, about 220. accessories 185. I mean, it's insane. The collection is absolutely bonkers. One of the flagships of the setup is he does have the complete in-game box of Earthbound on the Super Nintendo, which is the big box, which came with the the guide, the game guide inside the box. He has Mother 1 and 3 also, which are extremely rare games. But you know, my the caveat here is this really could be fake. There's a very real chance that this could be fake. Just post some pictures and see what happens. Also, there's no way in hell this is worth $500,000. I mean, if you go through and look at the pictures, yeah, there's some cool stuff, but there's also a lot of stuff that like you could get for less than $1 at any other store. Just because you have a lot doesn't mean it's worth $500,000. Now, granted, there was a guy, oh man, what was it, like almost just under half a year ago, who sold his collection for like 1.2 million.
Yep.
So there are some people out there who will pay crazy amounts, and his collection does look very complete and very.
I'm going to say his collection with all the full complete in-box copies of all the games. I mean, just selling the games, if he sold them individually, he'd make like a crap ton of money.
Yeah.
And especially some of the super rare runs like Earthbound and all the Mothers and stuff like that. There's a fair bit of them out there, but they're still really expensive. All the consoles, all the older consoles, new in box or complete in box rather, those are hard to find. Definitely worth $500,000 if you would break this apart and sell it individually. He'd probably make closer to $1 million. So selling it for that just to get it out of his probably his mother's house, I would say, his parents' house. Oh, sorry, no, that's a bad stereotype. Out of whatever area he's storing them in. Yeah, that's probably good, and he can.
The thing though is like, you know what? Yes, you would make more money selling them separately. That's a given. To ask nearly, you know, after you do everything and get it shipped to you, you're probably looking around $560,000. To ask that all in one go, I think is ridiculous, because you're going to get a bunch of stuff that you really want, and you're going to get a bunch of stuff that you already have or don't need. And that's where,
if you're P&P Games, you have a game shop selling all this used stuff. I mean, that's a cash cow for you. That is.
Yes, you've got $500,000 at capital sitting around ready to blow.
But I'm sure there's a lot of companies that have a lot of money sitting around, or they have investors that will buy in for X number of dollars and get it. I mean, a lot of stuff is getting harder and harder to find. Like every time a new in-box copy of something sells, is that person going to open it? Then that's one less new in-box, complete in-box. What if you have a flood and all that stuff gets destroyed? So
yeah,
there definitely is a market for this stuff, just like comic books and sports cards and everything else that is collectible. I don't get it personally, but I understand why people would like to do that.
It's a massive investment. I mean, it's something, first of all, you'd have to get insurance on just to make sure you're covered, right? Getting it to wherever you live, the shipping is going to be a nightmare. You probably get it in, you know, maybe 3 weeks with, you know, a truckload of stuff coming every day or something, you know, from FedEx or UPS ground or whatever. And then you also have to have a place to store it so that it doesn't degrade and get worse as time goes on. So, you know, for someone who's going to buy this, they have to have a very well laid plan to make sure that everything goes well. And first of all, they don't get ripped off. And second of all, everything goes well so that, you know, when the boxes get there, they're not soaking wet or, you know, delivered on a day where it's rainy and they just they wouldn't leave it at the door. But you know what I mean? I mean, there's just so much to think about.
I'm sure. Sorry.
No, it's okay. When you get down to thinking about all of that stuff, 550,000 is kind of like, okay, well, if I have the money, whatever, I've got to think about more important stuff at this point, because that's just an insane amount of work to do to get this to my friggin' house. Yeah,
but if you have that much money, I don't think hiring a trucking company to take it directly from his house to your house would be that much. It's a
good point.
But I think if anybody buys this, I think who would be buying it would be someone that already has a large collection that needs a few key parts that they can't find, and then they'll just flip the rest of it. So
yeah,
I don't know. That's a lot of cash. It's never something I would never have $500,000 to buy anything. Like there would never be one item that I would buy for that kind of money. So,
Well, you may want to send him a message. He might let you make installments of, $100 a month for the rest of your natural born life and your
sure,
kids' lives.
sure, that'd be okay. I'll live with that.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe you can use your Wii U as collateral or something.
yeah, I could do that. I could try that. We'll see what he say. I'll say it was Jeff Ward's idea, and send all legal threats in care of Jeff Ward.
Yeah, my email will just blow up with cease and desists and you're an idiot and where's our money and all that kind of stuff. Some guys are coming.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Exactly.
All right, moving on.
I could take this one. This one's really short and easy. You know the Ouya, that great little Kickstartered $100 console?
I do. I'm not sure if I agree with you that it's great.
Well, it's not out yet, so
yes.
I'm not saying great as in look at it, it's awesome, but just using it as a descriptor.
Yeah.
Well, you're not just going to be buying one Ouya. The company's come out this week and they said that they're planning yearly releases of the Ouya. So they're going to be revving the hardware each and every year to take advantage of the most up-to-date and recent hardware available, so that games will be able to get better and better and better every single year. So you're going to be spending $100 a year to keep on top of the hardware to play these Ouya games, which we don't really know if there are really going to be games for it.
Yeah.
which is kind of crazy.
Well, I mean, there are developers who've said like, yeah, we're making a game for Ouya, but it's like, you know, no release dates.
iPhone developers, people that have been making portable games. This week there was Double Fine came out and said that they're going to be supporting Ouya. So Double Fine Adventure and Cave will be coming to the Ouya. So at least that's a big developer has supported it. But that's about it. That's all I've seen. I'm still skeptical. I kickstarted it. At the very, very minimum, or the very least, I'll have a box that I can then root and then install emulators on, or some sort of like Xbox Media Center client or something. I'll be able to use it for something else. I'm not really convinced that developers are going to buy into this whole hog, seeing as you are pretty much going to have to do the work to release a free version, so that someone can play part of your game to then buy the in-app purchase version, which unlocks the rest of the game. What is piracy going to be like on the system? I mean, there's so many unknowns, and then now you know that your hardware is only going to be fresh for a year. So I don't know. It seems like a lot to ask of a consumer.
In some way, I kind of respect them for putting it all on the table like that and not just, having it cloak and dagger style where they're like, oh, June 2014 is going to be like Ouya 2. And you're like, oh, what the hell? This thing just came out. They're warning you that that's what's going to happen.
Yep.
Piracy is a very interesting issue. And like maybe on another show, we'll talk about it more in depth. But I think you'll see less piracy on this open box than you will on consoles that are closed. And that's kind of always been my feel about piracy, is that once you tell people you can't do it, that's when people start doing it all the time. It's kind of like drugs in the same way, right? I mean, the war on drugs is ridiculous in that sense.
I mean, you'd like to think that, but when you talk to developers that release games both on iOS and Android, they might sell 1,000 copies on iOS, and they'll ship like piles of copies on Android, but no one's paying for them. They have it's like dirt easy. It's so simple to pirate a game on Android if you want to. Like, you just have to root your phone, install a specific version of your Android OS, download the version of the thing, crack it, boom, there you are. You have the game for free. So developers are seeing like thousands of people play their game, and they've only sold like a handful of copies.
Was it Microsoft that said, if you're gonna steal an OS, I would rather you steal mine than the competition's?
I don't remember that quote.
I think that might have been them. I'm not sure, but I believe that's actually. I mean, obviously they're going to be pissed off when people steal their stuff. I mean, I would be if somebody stole a movie I made or whatever, Yep. But the thing is, if they're playing it, it's kind of hard to argue with it, right? Like, how many people are the people? Okay, so if you pirate it, how many people are those people telling about the game, and how many of those people are buying it? I mean, they're numbers
Yeah,
that you can't actually even do,
I,
but
I, I don't know about that. I mean that's been that's a lot of people explain away piracy that way. And I mean it makes sense. Like all the consoles that had the most piracy on them were the ones that sold the most. So PlayStation was rampant. You bought a $50 mod chip, you soldered 4 wires or 10 wires or 7 wires or whatever, and you could play copies. And so many people did that. They talked about the console. So many consoles sold. So many developers decided to make software for the console. That worked. In this day and age, you have a developer that is an independent developer. They can either spend time making their game for iOS and try to actually make money, but or they can make one for Android, and who knows what's going to happen. Like the sure bet is making the game and selling it on iOS. Android is already kind of a I don't know, a moving target to try to get money from people. And now you have this box, which is fully limited, that is going to be even more of an unknown. Like, I just really, I want it to succeed. Like, I like the idea. It makes me wonder just how it's going to work. Especially since developers are going to have to, one of the rules for releasing a game on Ouya is that you have to have a free demo version available and then an in-game unlock to unlock the rest of the game. So what does that mean? Is that your game you're shipping the whole game and you're crippling it so that it's rudimentary for someone to crack it? Is that an in-app purchase download which will come, which will then be easily saved off somewhere else and then put up somewhere on the web so you can download it? Like, yeah. Just the fact that they're even using this sort of method of distributing the games and getting early buy-in from their customers might end up biting them in the ass in the end. Like, there's so many unknowns. A
ton of unknowns. I mean, you're absolutely right.
And will the hardware be good? Will the hardware suck? Will the controller be like useless and impossible to play on? Like, there's so many. Like, I talked about it on the forums this week. We were talking about Ouya, and it's just like, I don't know. Like, how is this gonna even work?
To me, it's always seemed like unless the game was specifically designed for Ouya, we're going to see a lot of ports and a lot of things like that. So in that sense, the best thing about the console is that you can play a game that you can play on your phone on a bigger screen. And it's like, well, there's AirPlay and there's iPads. Totally. And if that's the best selling feature, $100 still seems really, really steep. I certainly won't be getting one. I don't really see the business idea behind the console. I don't, like you're talking about right now, for the developers to make money. I have no idea how the hell this company's going to make money outside of just being crowdfunded all the time,
Well, they're doing the 30% thing. So someone buys a game, they get 30% of that sale. So okay. I mean, they're another app store essentially, and they're curating it. So you have to submit your game to them for them to review and say yay or nay. But yeah, I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's an Android box, so you could just buy it, root it, and never use their service. And there you go. So anyway, that's Ouya. Yeah, annual release. I mean, sure, it's only $100, but that means that the hardware you buy really isn't going to be usable for a long time. It's not like you're buying a Super Nintendo that's going to last for 6 years. You're buying
so
something
the thing about the article is that it was a little bit vague on what's going to happen to the old version of the console. Like, are they going to flash an update to the older consoles and kind of make them unusable, and you kind of got to recycle it and buy a new one? Or
they
what
would
really
never do
happens?
that. It's going to be like buying a phone. So you can have an iPhone. You buy the latest and greatest iPhone at one point. So you bought the iPhone 4.
Yeah.
Games run beautiful on it. A year passes by, the 4S comes out. Games still run really good. A year passes by, the 5 comes out. Games still run. There's some issues. Some games don't look as pretty. A year passes by, the 5S comes out. The 4 doesn't even run any games that come out anymore. It'll be something like that, where just after a couple generations, like, the games just won't be usable on it. It'll probably have some sort of recommendation where this runs best on Ouya 3, supported all the way down to Ouya 1, but you don't get high-res textures or something like that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Moving on.
You want me to cover this one?
Yes. Sorry, I
Okay.
was choking.
No, that's fine. Okay, so I don't know much about the story. I have read the article. I think it's interesting more maybe from the backlash standpoint than the actual, because I've been reading a lot about what fans are saying. But basically, the gist of it here is that Rayman Legends is oh, sorry, hold on. I might be on the wrong thing here. Oh yes, it's not long. It's ugh, my tongue's falling apart now. It's no longer going to be an exclusive title for Nintendo, and a lot of people are getting really upset about that, which I'm not quite sure I understand. But the
Well, this
sorry,
this
go
is
ahead.
this is what it is. The game was supposed to be a launch day title, so it was supposed to come out when the Wii U came out.
Yes.
Ubisoft said, no, the game's not finished. We're going to push it back. It'll come out mid-February. You'll get the game. We'll give you a demo. It's going to be beautiful. Just before the game is supposed to come out, they say, you're going to have to wait 6 months to get it. We're pushing it to September because we're releasing it multi-platform on all consoles at once. So the game that was supposed to be a launch day title, which we needed another month to work on, which we basically did, or a month or two or whatever, which is now finished and ready to go. We're not going to give it to you because we're going to have to sit on it for 6 months so that we can finish the other two console versions to give it to you sometime in September.
Wow.
That is why people are pissed off. And I totally get it. And I'm pissed off.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Basically, one of the devs came out and said, "Yeah, it's done. We don't agree with Ubisoft. It's a distributor thing, or it's a publisher thing, not a maker thing. So don't blame us. Blame Ubisoft." The thing that's even more concerning to this is people buy, like Ubisoft came out and said, "Yeah, we want our games to be available to as many people as possible," which makes sense. You make something, you want to sell it to the most number of people that you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, console specific or console exclusives are meant to basically sell a console. So if you're then scared that this console exclusive isn't going to sell a console that you are making it for, and you're making it multi-platform, what does that say about the platform? Like this is like probably one of the first like cracks showing in Nintendo's armor about the Wii U, that one of their main supporters now doesn't believe in the console or in the platform enough to release the game that they promised as an exclusively for your console anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me wonder what Nintendo's going to do. Or is this going to be something that they're going to have to address at E3? Are they going to have to talk about exclusives that are coming out? Are they going to have to start dropping the price? Like, is this like the first in a line of Nintendo Wii U problems, which kind of happened around the 3DS? There was talks about exclusives, launch titles being crappy, and then they got to the point where they had to drop the price.
I think the Wii U had a much better start than the 3DS has, and I don't think there has actually been that much bad press about the launch of the Wii U. They have been kind of shipping out titles steadily, so people haven't been without games, but exclusives for sure have been few and far between. So I can understand why people are getting upset, and I could understand Nintendo maybe wanting to say something at E3. Mm-hmm. But I think it would be bad for them to say anything. First of all,
totally
E3 is quite a while away.
Mm-hmm.
But for them to come out on stage and be like, "Listen, what do they say?" That's the really tough part, right? Is like, what the hell are you supposed to tell people? This was supposed to be an exclusive, but Ubisoft is a shitty company and they screwed us over.
Yeah,
sorry.
Well, obviously, companies are going to totally address this. They're not going to start talking about Ubisoft directly, but they're going to start talking about other things that you can do on the system.
Yeah. I feel like when E3 comes up, we're going to be seeing a lot more apps that are going to be coming with the Wii U. I think we're going to see a lot of that stuff that Xbox and that Sony are doing, because that is where the long-term future of a console like this will lie. Is if you can get people to keep that thing on all day and use it to watch Netflix and use it to use Facebook and Twitter, then you've won. You've basically won. And, I don't think a lot of consoles are doing that yet. Although Netflix, I do watch Netflix on my PS3, but for other things, it's really tough for me to kind of sit down with, when I've got a laptop or something. So
Well, I mean
I think that's what you'll see
yeah.
for E3 for the Wii U.
Well, we just have to wait till the 20th, and the first little I don't know, tip of what's going to be happening is going to come out.
Yes.
I mean, Sony, you know about the Sony press conference on the 20th?
Yes, I have heard about it, yeah.
So they're going to be announcing the PS4 on February 20th. So what's that, 2 weeks away? So yeah, Nintendo definitely
You don't think it's going to be the Vita 2 or a price drop for the Vita?
No. not with what they're doing. They're inviting financial analysts, shareholders. Big. They're inviting all the right people to say that yes, we're launching a new console. So that's going to happen on February 20th. They're live streaming it on the internet as well. So it's going to be anybody that wants to see it, it can see it. Yeah, so you have developers that are kind of fleeing your system, thinking that maybe the exclusives aren't going to sell well. There's no game shipping for your console. Like, what is Nintendo going to do? Like, they have to price drop. I mean, I can't think of anything else that's gonna like amplify their sales. Like they've already had their financial reports, and they've lowered the expected sales of the Wii U because they don't think it's going to sell as well as they initially predicted. That's scary. Moving on to the next story, which is kind of related.
This might be what they're trying to do,
which doesn't make sense at all. But they just announced that there is a new bundle coming out. So you can buy on what is it? It's sometime in February, the 17th. There it is. So just before Sony's announcement, which I don't know if it was timed just because of Sony's announcement, probably was. And you could buy a new Wii U package. So you get a deluxe set. It's called the ZombiU deluxe set. It's $390, so it's more than the current deluxe set. Yeah. And you get everything that's in the deluxe set, and you get a copy of ZombiU. So
you're saving. What are you saving here? $15?
Yeah, you're getting ZombiU for $40 instead of $60, or $50 or whatever. So you might only be saving $10. But you also get a pro controller. So yeah, you do get something else. You get another.
That's true.
You get a $50 pro controller in there as well. But
I think it would have been a better deal if they had actually branded the console in the ZombiU. Put like a bloody handprint or something on it, some sort of stupid decal.
And it should be $350. That's already expensive for the console.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, that's their. I don't know. That's their first. Hey, look, Wii U, buy it. I'm kind of getting scared for the future of the Wii U. To be honest with you, like I'm worried. I'm really worried to see. I want to see what Sony is going to talk about on the 20th. Do you want me to tell you what I think they're going to talk about?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so I think Orbis is going to be a console, obviously, with some different features. So it's going to be kind of like a hub. So it's something that you plug into your television. You can play games on it using your Vita. You can play games on it using a 6-axis controller or a DualShock controller. You can play games on it with Sony's new tablet controller that they're going to announce, because they want to compete. Like they do kind of what everybody else does. So the Wii came out, so Sony had to come out with a Waggle controller. So they had the PlayStation Move. They're going to see what the Wii U did. So they're going to come out with some sort of second screen tablet that's going to be branded PlayStation. And it's going to be this box that's always connected to the internet, always online, can stream movies, can stream Netflix, can stream audio, can play games through downloads, and will basically do everything that all the consoles out now can do. And it will be like stupid graphics. Like they're going to ramp it up like crazy. So it's basically going to be a Wii U ramped up to like next generation graphics standard, which is going to be very scary to people that already bought a Wii U, because it's like, oh, I can get this new system which is just like my Wii U, and it has 2 cameras, and it can track me in 3D space while I play this game with this tablet controller. Why did I buy this Wii U thing for $350 or $390 and get a copy of ZombiU with it? So I think they're going to announce something pretty I want to say revolutionary, even though it's not really revolutionary. It's more evolutionary. And I think it's going to be like a big shot across Nintendo's bow, and a preemptive strike against what Microsoft is going to announce.
Well, I mean, the thing is, Sony has to Sony has to do something big here because I think as poor as or as diminished as the Wii U sales have been, and it has kind of, I'm hesitant to use the word bleak, but I think that's kind of the word you got to use because I do agree with you that things are looking a little bit scary, I would say, for Nintendo. The console's a great idea. The way it connects players, I think, is really interesting. The way it kind of runs in the background is really nice. The
I love it.
problem with it is, yeah. Oh, and the thing is, when I came over to your place and we sat down and played it, I couldn't think of a bad thing to say about it. I still really can't without like getting like really nitpicky and be like, I don't really like the way it looks. I think the design of it's kind of ugly. That's a stupid thing to say about it, though. It has nothing to do with the presentation is very minimal on a lot of these things. I just want to play games. That's what I want to do. I don't care how it looks. I can put a blanket over it or something. But when you get to the meat of what Sony is going to be doing on the 20th, it's got to make Nintendo nervous. It's got to make Nintendo nervous.
Totally.
So, because their idea is really interesting, and I think to implement that in another console is, you get a developer, he's going to work for 60 days, and, it'll be in the next Xbox 360 update. And then all of a sudden, the Wii U is like, who cares? My Xbox does that now. And it's going to be a very interesting day for sure.
It's going to be your Nintendo box for the rest of its existence because nothing else of worth is going to come out on it. And that's what kind of scares me. I bought it knowing that, but the fact that it might actually come true kind of makes me very sad.
Yeah, it's a very strange situation. It's also kind of exciting as well too because this kind of competitive nature between companies kind of breeds some of the best things for the end user. That being said, Sony has no money. Nintendo is hemorrhaging money. They're making money, but as we've said before, the Wii U is being sold nearly at cost, right? So what they're making 5 or 6% or something like that on every console sold. So they're really making nothing. And Xbox is just kind of sitting back and going, yeah, we're still doing fine. Xbox Live Gold memberships will keep this company running for an extra decade. We'll see what happens, and then we'll kind of plan accordingly. So I think Microsoft seems like they hold all the cards, which is funny because we haven't really heard a damn thing from them in the last 5 months about their console since the last time where they told us, don't worry, we're not going to be releasing a new console this year.
Yeah, I honestly, I think the real winner out of all this is Apple. Like they have an ecosystem that is unbelievable. Like the App Store is just crazy for what it allows people to do. You can buy for $10, you can get 10 different separate experiences, which is amazing. You have an Apple TV in your house, you can send your video to your television with three clicks. I think the future generations of consoles are really going to not even exist. You're going to have devices like Apple and the iPad and the iPhone and Apple TV kind of just taking your little screen play to a big screen in your house. And that's really what future console generations are really going to have to compete with is setups like that. So obviously not tomorrow, but give it 5 years and will there really be the Xbox 1480 be talked about?
1480, and the thing is, as much as because I'm a big fan of just having a console. I like just having a dedicated machine that plays video games, and I like the way I interact with it, and I like the way it interacts with me. I don't really want it to just be like this cloud service phantom thing where you're throwing money at an invisible store that doesn't exist, and a game is downloaded to your heart. I don't like that. I'm a very I like the physical media. I like to hold the game disc. I like the controller. I like the console.
But you're a dying breed because things are going digital only. You won't be able to buy Blu-rays in 5 years. You won't be able to buy physical games in 3 years. You won't be able to do any of that stuff. Having said
that, I'm fully aware of where it's going. Actually, I was having this discussion the other day because I actually just said what you said to me. I was like, in probably a decade, we'll have high definition movies and it'll still be a Blu-ray, but as a piece of physical media won't exist. And they're like, well, it's like an 8 gigabyte disc. Who's going to have that much space for movies? movies. I'm like, you could buy a 1 terabyte hard drive for $60. You know, the price of hard drives is so cheap that why the hell would you even make physical media anymore if you can just download it? Servers are also cheap to put together and to maintain when you do big ones. It's ridiculous as like a cost savings thing. Why wouldn't you stop printing discs and stop making cases and stop making molds for cases and, you know, all that? We're already seeing that nearly every game you buy new now will not have an instruction manual. It's like, if you want to read the instruction manual, go to this website, you know? So they're already trying to cut costs someplace. Games, discs as physical media will go away. And I don't like that, but I'm not an idiot, you know, like it's definitely going to happen. So I totally agree with what you're saying. I just kind of wish it wasn't, because I love VHS tapes and I love, you know, DVDs and Blu-rays and all that kind of stuff. You know, you'll probably see boxed sets, special editions, that kind of thing, but they'll be few and far between.
Yep, exactly. Cool. I was chatting in the chat room, so
yeah,
I wasn't ignoring you. I was just tapping away. Hopefully, you didn't hear my keystrokes too much.
I did, but then again, I'm on iPod earbuds.
Exactly, and I'm coughing in your ear, so you probably have ringing in your ear right now. All right, well, moving on. Last news story before I go into a vocal cord coma. The Origin client, so it's available on all the consoles when you play games like
Battlefield
or Mass Effect. You have to log into Origin. The same thing when you play games like The Simpsons on your iPad, you log into Origin. Well, they just launched a Mac client, so it's available on the PC and Mac now. So we have all sorts of digital download game clients out there now. There's Steam, there's Origin, there's what's the other one? There was another one that I bought a couple games on way back in the day. I can't even think of it right now. There's of course Blizzard's own stuff, which all runs through their own client.
Yep.
So
the App Store.
Yeah, so like even PC games are moving pretty much all digital. No one wants to buy box copies anymore. So, but if you do have a Mac, you can get some really great Mac games available for free. Just download the Origin client, log in, and there's a whole bunch of like free downloads that you could play.
Pretty really sweet. The only thing that makes this not the best deal is that Origin is a horrendous service. I hate giving EA my information so that I can play Simpsons tapped out on my phone. The integration into games like Mass Effect is some of the worst. The only thing that's worse than Origin for game integration is Ubisoft's Uplay. That shit is horrendous. I wish they would strip that, because that's one of the worst things I've ever interacted with my entire life.
But you get Uplay points.
Who gives a shit? It's the same achievement I'm getting on my Xbox.
But you can buy things in your games with your Uplay points. It's amazing.
Oh, it's so stupid.
Lame is what I wanted to say.
Exactly. It's but you know, compared to Uplay, Origin is like hell yeah. But you know, just the constant updates and the fact that, you know, if you're not online, you kind of, you know, get as much out of the game. I just don't like it. But anyway, free games are great if you want to sign yourself over to EA for a while. Steam is still the way to go, or the App Store, or you know, even Blizzard in some regard is considerably better.
Yep, exactly. So anyway, just wanted to give you guys a bit of a public service announcement. If you want to play some PC-like games on your Mac, who generally doesn't get a lot of PC-like games, you can download the Origin client and install it and play some games right now for free, and then hopefully future games will be available for purchase on that system as well. So it's a Steam-like thing.
Yep.
Blah. All right, man. That's going to about do it for this episode of the bonus stage, episode number 20. I said we weren't going to do a 2-hour show. We did a 2-hour show, so I apologize.
Yeah, 2 hours and 58 seconds.
Yeah, my voice is wrecked, dude.
Well, actually, we were talking for like 25 minutes before we actually started the show, so it's only 90 minutes when you get it in podcast form.
That's true. It's about an hour and a half, but that's long enough. As you can hear, my voice has gotten so bad near the end of the show. So guys, let us know what you think. Head on over to VGPodcasts.com. click contact us and contact us that way. Email us at vgpodcast@gmail.com. Join our forums, vgpodcast.com/forums. A lot of chatting happening there. Jeff even shows up from time to time to let people make fun of MLB the show, and then he scurries away.
You know what? I wanted to put in some news about the development of MLB 13, the show, because I've been following the news really closely and how they've revamped franchise mode, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get Raz. So, like, you know, there might be one person who listens to the show that actually gives a damn about that game, and I think that person is me when I re-listen to the show after it comes out in podcast form.
I was shaking my head, but yeah, I know you're right. When you re-listen to the show, that's probably what it is. So do that. Follow me on Twitter. I'm Dasme on Twitter. Jeff is Jeff A. Ward on Twitter. Call our voicemail line 505 VG Podcast. We'll talk to you guys next week. Hopefully I'll have more of a voice then. But until that time, I
won't look like a zombie.
Exactly. Have a great week, guys. We'll talk to you in a week's time.
See you later.
Let's get started.